In my early 80s, my daughter and son-in-law introduced me to indoor gardening, and I was never much of an outdoor gardener, but I've fallen in love with growing indoor. No bugs, no wind, and some of the most scrumptious fresh vegetables that you can ever imagine are able to be grown indoor with hydroponics. There's nothing really complicated to it, especially if I can handle it. Now they tell me I have a green thumb. One of my favorite things to do is to grow big basil plants. And if you grow basil plants outside, they're all wrinkled up from the wind and bugs and everything else. The ones I grow are they go from here all the way up to about here. When they're that high, I usually, because I grow them in canning jars, I give them as gifts to neighbors, and it's so much fun to be able to do an easy gift and one that they enjoy, not just for a day or two. They have the basil plant for several weeks after I give it to them. I just tell them to add water to it, and as the nutrient goes down, and they keep a lot of basil for a long time and get a lot of enjoyment out of it. In 1 week, a plant looks about like this. In 2 weeks, it looks like this is arugula, and it's so tender and really great arugula if you like it. And this is 3 weeks, and they're on towards the end of their life. And between this starting to this period, you might have to add nutrients into these jars probably only one time during that 3 week period. And you've had the entire life of that plant, and it only takes maybe a half hour a week to maintain all of these plants. One of the most exciting things for somebody like myself is that it is so easy and so enjoyable. Every night I can just come over, cut a little lettuce, don't have to wash it, no bugs on it. It's just so easy. And I make sandwiches for breakfast out of just kale and fresh turkey or fresh chicken. And it's a really tasty, healthy byproduct of indoor gardening. I only have to spend a half hour a week on these 8 or 9 plants that I run. And I run 8 or 9 plants because I look at them as a 3 week cycle, and I want to keep fresh plants going all the time. So I start 3 or 4 jars every week and just rotate them. And these are 33-inch lights, but they also make a 17-inch light, which you might want to even just begin with a 17-inch light and just get your feet wet. But once you do, you'll be as happy and have a whole new hobby. You're not limited to just growing herbs and greens and so forth. I've grown a Meyer lemon tree, which I fell in love with, and my son-in-law made some great lemon pies, which also was a byproduct of the indoor gardening. Cherry tomatoes grow really well, and that'll last more than 3 weeks. You can be picking cherry tomatoes for, I don't know, a long time. I really enjoy eating greens every day. Basil and arugula are my favorites. When I go to the grocery store and try to buy lettuces, they come in these plastic packages with a date, and with bad eyes, I'm trying to read this tiny little date and I can't do it. And when I finally get to see what the date is, it's today's date. That means I have to get it home and eat the whole bag, which makes no sense whatsoever. When you grow your own stuff, it's not only cheaper, but it is really fabulous. The arugula it sparkles in your mouth. It's really, really good. Just the whole idea of it, buying freshness, and you don't have to wash it. My wife Carol really loved that idea, and I never even thought about that, but it's so easy. It's something you'll really just get into. And when you get into it, you'll discover all kinds of other things you can grow besides greens. It's late November now, and I brought this plant in from outdoors a few weeks ago before the first freeze. And I get to enjoy it and its blossoms all winter long, and I don't even have to put it under the Happy Leaf LED grow lights, I just put it near them. And it stays like this all winter long. And then I put it outside, so it never gets a rest. It's always blooming. You can tell I really love indoor gardening, almost as much as I love peach. Everything you want to know about growing indoors is linked in this video.